And Sean Taylor, the safety, just comes up and unloads him. Oh, man.
They are the Washington Commanders. New name, new marks, new uniform.
Soldiers, are we ready for Operation Burgundy? 10-4. All clear. Over and out.
Rolling, no looking back. My team is for real, we don't know how to act. Yeah, I'm pointing out facts. If I point a finger, that's point of attack. He'll point who's next. Flag on the plate, now I'm causing them death. We bet on ourselves, so what you expect? A die-hard fan, never live a regret. Yes, sir. Go to my neck. Burgundy flag. Who wants the smoke? We bringing it home. Be my guest. Look how we step. Who we got next? Step on the right, step on the left. Who do we rep? Commanders. Where my soldiers? Right side. Commanders. Where my soldiers? Left side. Commanders. Where my soldiers? Watch the middle. Commanders. Where my soldiers? High off the way that this sound, they turn up as soon as they feet the ground. I am not playing around. I hit them, I bet that they feeling me now. Don't like the Cowboys on this side of town. I know a few Cowgirls who pretty and brown. Say she a fan, but she never too proud. Feel like Santana, I turn it around. Turn on the Jets, McLaren, McLaurin, that's vertical threats. They sleep on the best, we bring out the weapon, they handle the rest. Bringing the pain and we making the sweat. Left out some names which I got my respect. We bet on ourselves, so what you expect? A die-hard fan, never live a regret. Yes, sir. Go to my neck. Burgundy flag. Who wants the smoke? We bringing it home. Be my guest. Look how we step. Who we got next? Step on the right, step on the left. Who do we rep? Commanders. Where my soldiers? Right side. Commanders. Where my soldiers? Left side. Commanders. Where my soldiers? Watch the middle. Commanders. Where my soldiers? Look how we step. Where my soldiers? Right side. Where my soldiers? Left side. For real, we don't know how to act. Yeah, I'm pointing out facts. If I point a finger, that's point of attack. He'll point who's next. Flag on the plate, now I'm causing them death. We bet on ourselves, so what you expect? A die-hard fan, never live a regret. Yes, sir. Go to my neck. Burgundy flag. Who wants the smoke? We bringing it home. Be my guest. Look how we step. Who we got next? Step on the right, step on the left. Who do we rep? Commanders. Where my soldiers? Right side. Commanders. Where my soldiers? Left side. Commanders. Where my soldiers? Watch the middle. Commanders. Where my soldiers? High off the way that this sound, they turn up as soon as they feet the ground. I am not playing around. I hit them, I bet that they feeling me now.
Welcome, one and all across the nation and around the world. I welcome you all to episode 32 of the Commanders Gridiron Report here on Friday, November 8th, 2024. I am your host, Drew Willingham, and we are back to discuss much of the Commanders' season up to this point, their previous game that they had last week, as well as a preview for this upcoming game this week at home against the Steelers. Now, with all that being said, Welcome to the program. We got a few comments to go ahead and get this started. Mickey Delaney's in the house, says, let's go, along with shared and liked. Well, I greatly appreciate you sharing it, brother. Greatly appreciate you being here to see episode 32 of the Commanders Gridiron Report. That is brought to you by
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real.
Which you can see the Commanders Gridiron Report here live and in action on Team MBS Media, as well as Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome, and A7BN Sports. Thank you all for hosting this show tonight here on Commanders Gridiron Report Action Episode 32. We are here. Let's go ahead and get it started with the first and 10.
They are the Washington Commanders. New name, new marks, new uniform.
Soldiers, are we ready for Operation Burgundy Black?
Here with the first and 10, let's take a look at the fact that this past week for the Week 9 contest, the Washington Commanders go to New York, or New Jersey, however you want to say it, and take on the Giants, who beat them down, mollywopped them 27-22. It was definitely not as close as the score looked, and we will break that down here shortly. It was a 1 o'clock game this past Sunday, November 3rd. The first game of November, Commanders came into this game 6-2, having a great run to start this year and to start this season, especially against a team they've already faced earlier in the year. They didn't really have much of production in that first game. It was a field goal contest. It was Austin Seibert's first game, just getting signed off the street days before that game, and they won 21-18. Battle of field goals. 7 field goals by him set a franchise record, and that's how the first game went. We're going to talk about the fact that the Commanders buried the Giants to complete the series sweep in this past contest, in this past week. Week 9 contest. And the only way we can really do that is if we do that within the Burgundy Flex Review, where we can look at some photos and discuss statistically how this all broke down.
Go to my neck, Burgundy Flex. Pour the smoke, we bringing it home. Be my guest.
And here at the Burgundy Flex Review, we're going to take a look at some highlights from the Week 9 contest. And starting out right here, we have to take a look at the fact that Terry McLaurin was hot. Got 2 touchdowns in this game. Didn't have a lot of receiving yards, but he had 2 big touchdowns to help the Commanders get one up on this team. Noah Brown definitely did step in and have 5 receptions for 60 yards. But look at McLaurin right here. This was that 1-yard touchdown that he had, that first touchdown that he helped get them up 7-0. Again, this team coming in 6-2 definitely needed to continue to roll and complete the series sweep, and they did. Now, Daniel Jones did come into the game starting out in his first drive with a 24-yard rush. Now, this definitely did help them get a little bit of momentum started to kind of stay within the game, but they were kind of out of it from the start. The defense on Daniel Jones was just definitely running wild on him throughout this game. Daniel Jones only had 174 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns, did not throw any interceptions, and did, complete 20 of 26 of his passes. Now, rushing-wise, he had 7 rushes for 54 yards. He did have a touchdown, and we'll talk about that here shortly. Jaden Daniels definitely came out, though, on his first drive, ready to rock and roll, but they did end up punting on the first drive. Both teams definitely didn't really start it out too hot as far as scoring, but the Commanders definitely would get the first touchdown with 7 minutes and 4 seconds left in the first quarter by Terry McLaurin getting that 1-yard pass from Jaden Daniels right here. And this catch is what I've been talking about as we started it out in the Burgundy Flex Review. This was the catch that he actually had for that 1-yard touchdown from Jaden Daniels. Now, they would answer the Giants being here later in the game. Daniel Jones would have a rushing touchdown right here as he would bounce off the 2 defenders and get himself in there for a rushing touchdown. The Giants would go for 2 points, but they would miss it, being down 24-16 in the fourth quarter with about 7 minutes left in the game. Well, no, 9 minutes and 25 seconds. 24-16 at this point. Austin Seibert would add a 20-yard field goal to be up 27-16. And at that point, it would be 3 minutes and 46 seconds left in the game. But let's rewind back to the second quarter here. Let's take a look again. Jaden Daniels would again connect with Terry McLaurin, this time not in this same picture, but just to give you a little bit of imagery with what was happening. He had an 18-yard pass this time for his second receiving touchdown of the game. The Commanders would go up 21-7 with only 6 seconds left in the first half. Then the Giants would answer in the third quarter on the first drive with a 31-yard field goal. Answered again by Austin Seibert's 31-yard field goal to go back-to-back on field goals for the teams. It would be 24-10 Commanders with 33 seconds left in the third quarter. That's when, as we were just talking about, the Daniel Jones touchdown would happen as he would bounce off these two defenders and try to go for the two-point conversion, but they would miss and be down 24-16 with about 9 minutes and 25 seconds left. The Commanders would get the ball, and they would run the clock down at this point. Eckler would then take the ball, go on a nice 40-yard run, but it wasn't an actual run as he is a running back. He would actually receive the ball on a catch, a little dink and dunk from Jaden Daniels on a little out route, take it for about 40 yards to set up after a Jaden Daniels celebration. That would pretty much set up a Jaden Daniels celebration, of course, but it would set up a Chris Rodriguez run. They would actually set up a field goal by Seibert. The Commanders would go up 27-16. The Giants would answer, and they would definitely answer pretty well with another touchdown by Theo Johnson, a 35-yard reception from Daniel Jones, but they would fail to convert on the two-point conversion. The Commanders would then continue to run the ball, and they would run the clock down to where they were able to kneel it and take the win 27-22. Would again be our final score for this Burgundy Flex review and for this game. This was an absolute wild contest as far as when you think about it being a divisional game. Like divisional games, I say, are a wild contest because they're usually really good games, very close games. And I said the Commanders would win last week, and I said they would probably win by 7 points or less, and I was correct. They won by 5 because I didn't see them blowing the Giants out. I did, however, see this game going down pretty close to the wire. And if we look back at our 1st and 10, we can see that it was 27-22 for this game, and we have to acknowledge it when we take a look at that for our Burgundy Flex review right here. And
Acknowledge me.
As we do, as it is a wrestling night, SmackDown is currently on. Thank you for those of you who are tuning in right now during those times, or any other sports action like the NBA, high school football, or even certain college football games. Speaking to people who are tuning in, Mickey says, sorry that I am late to the show. Well, I appreciate you just being here, my brother. Appreciate all of you who are here in the comments. And as always, if you're tuning in for the first time, please subscribe now and never miss out on new content, no matter what channel you are watching at this current time. With that being said, we've gone through the 1st and 10. We've gone through the Burgundy Flex review. Let's go ahead and take this into our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll break down our MVPs for this past week, which we like to call the Soldiers of the Week. Go through the Showstopper, the Opponent of the Week, and the Final Drive. I'll see you here after this first commercial break. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to the Commanders Gridiron Report.
Commanders, where my soldiers? Right side. Commanders, where my soldiers? Left side.
Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy, and now begins a future one of matrimony or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network, in association with Comey Media Incorporated, proudly present The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Live every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central.
Ladies and gentlemen, hey, look, Hey, stop playing games. Y'all already know. Go ahead and toss him some Willie Bucks. Ain't nobody playing around. $, D Willie 87. Go ahead, hit him up on the Cash App and go ahead and give him some Willie Bucks. Look at Drew looking stoic, ladies and gentlemen. Stoic on that $10 bill. So go ahead, slide my man over some Willie Bucks, and we good. That's all I'm saying. We good. How about some Willie Bucks?
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered a winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text delete.
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central on the Sertoba Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels.
Commanders, where my soldiers? Right there. Commanders, where my soldiers? Left side.
Welcome back to Commanders Gridiron Report, episode 32 here on November 8th, 2024, as we're here to discuss the Commanders burying the Giants to complete the season series sweep. I am your host, Drew Willingham, and we are back after discussing the first two segments, the 1st and 10, the Burgundy Flex review. It is now time to take it into the Soldiers of the Week and discuss who we feel at Sertoba Media are the Soldiers of the Week.
Where my soldiers? Right there. Commanders, where my soldiers? Left side.
And here were the Soldiers of the Week. Got to give it to Austin Ekeler, who had 11 carries for 42 yards on the day. One rush and one rushing touchdown is what he had, as well as 3 receptions for 41 yards. I mean, the contributions by Austin Ekeler were definitely big, as well as Terry McLaurin's 2 receptions for 19 yards and those 2 touchdowns. But we can't forget about Jaden Daniels, who again was the number 1 Soldier of the Week for this team. 15 completions out of 22 attempts, 209 passing yards with 2 passing touchdowns, 8 carries for 35 yards on the ground as well. 2 passing touchdowns, both of them to McLaurin, and Austin Ekeler set those ones up with those carries that he had, especially that big catch that he had. He had like 41 receiving yards, and he probably had like 1 yard per the other 2 attempts. But the man had a 39-yard reception there later in the game that we talked about earlier that set up the Chris Rodriguez run, that set up that final score with the field goal to go up 27-16 before the Giants would score and fail on the 2-point conversion. So yes, when it comes to the Soldiers of the Week, acknowledging the standouts from Week 9, I got to give it again to our number 1 guy, Jaden Daniels, 15-22 for 209 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 8 carries for 35 rushing yards. And Austin Ekeler, 11 carries for 42 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, 3 receptions for 41 receiving yards. And our another big contributor, Terry McLaurin, 2 receptions, 19 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. And that right there are my picks for the Soldiers of the Week. Let's go ahead and take it into the Showstopper.
High off the way that this sound, they turn up as soon as they feed the ground. I am not playing around. I hit them, I bet that they feeling me now.
And here with the Showstoppers, where we discuss the adjustments the team can make to improve from Week 9 and their win. And when we look at this game for what it was this past week, it was definitely a close one. It was a close divisional matchup, and they are playing a completely different team in the Pittsburgh Steelers, which we will break down more after our last commercial break here shortly. But when it comes to the adjustments that they need to make, they made a big one already, and it's something I wanted to talk about that should be the headline of this show as late in the week as I'm doing this, but I'm basically going off of what I wrote from earlier in this week. And on the trade deadline day, the team picked up Marshawn Lattimore. And that was absolutely a huge, huge move they need to make, because all season long, I've been talking about the fact that they needed to upgrade in the secondary, and they were most likely going to do it during the offseason. They surprised me with doing it during the season, and I don't think that if they were having as much success as they are having at this point that they would have made the trade, and they did. It was a huge, huge move for this team to make, and to go ahead and make a move for Marshawn Lattimore, someone to be in the secondary who's still very young, but also, can contribute in a great way. He's coming off a hamstring situation, which we'll see how serious it is by the time we get to game day against the Steelers, because this is a big move to make right before this game. Either way, the future's looking bright for this team, not only on offense, but for defense when you make moves like you make right there at the deadline for Lattimore from the Saints. And the Saints definitely needed to, blow it up and do something different because it's not working for them. And the Commanders needed that piece in the secondary to help them out, because they have not been playing well back there in the secondary for quite some time. They even tried, I go back and look at when they tried to get Josh Norman, several years ago, signed him that big contract, and how that was a bust right there. And they've been looking for help in the secondary for quite some time and haven't had consistent help. And if Lattimore can consistently stay healthy moving forward for the next 2.5 years for the duration of the contract that he's under, this could be a very, very smart move. And Adam Peters, the GM, is continuing to do one hell of a job over there and turning things around over there for the Commanders. Regardless if it goes your way this week or not, through 10 weeks, win or lose, you've got to be proud of what you've built over there already in a short period of time. Dan Quinn has definitely learned from his mistakes as being a head coach with the Falcons, and I feel like he's been making those adjustments throughout this season, and we've been seeing it, which is why they're 7-2 at this point. They lost the game against the Ravens, and they lost the game against the Buccaneers, who look like they're going to be, playoff teams. And this team right here in the Steelers, it's a very big test for them with their defense going against the Commanders' hot offense. Both the defense for the Steelers is hot, and the offense for the Commanders is hot. It's going to be a very, very good matchup. It's the adjustments that they really need to truly make, which they got exposed on in this past game with the Giants. They made the trade for it. It's the big question on if he's going to play or not, and that being Marshawn Lattimore. That can be the X factor in this game. If he plays well for the defensive side and can contain Russell Wilson in the deep ball, which is what he's brought to the quarterback position since they made the swap for Justin Fields and Russell Wilson at the quarterback position on the Steelers, go back and check out Total Football Talk, bing, on Mondays. You can see where my man Cole Johnson and I have been discussing that. But looking at it for what it is right here and now, Marshawn Lattimore is a big pickup, but we're going to see if that X factor plays into the factors of this game this Sunday. And if he does, and the secondary is improved from that trade, then that's going to be the biggest adjustment that you can make. Because Jaden Daniels has been smart with the football. He has 9 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. He's been absolutely smart with the football. The RPO, the run pass option has been great for this offense. They still are about an offensive tackle and an offensive guard away, during this offseason. I feel like making those moves to having a truly solid offensive line. I still see some holes within it, which is why Jaden has to run as much as he does. But offensively, night and day from what they were last year, and it's all based on the maturity and the leadership from the young quarterback. And I am enjoying watching it as someone not only who covers the team with this program right here, but someone who has been a fan of this team since they were, since I was in baby clothes, since I was born. I was born into this, okay? I have the tattoo of the former team on the arm. I am integrated within this franchise. So when they call themselves the Commanders, they want to go back to being the Redskins. They change something else. I'm still going to pull for this franchise. Win or lose, this has been a successful season for the remainder of the year. They have a tough schedule moving forward, but the adjustments that they need to make, I feel like they've already made. It's just going to be the question on if he plays or not this weekend, and if the the team can continue to build on the success that they have had already through this season, and I feel like they can. And I'll break down more about how I feel like this game is going to go when we come back for the opponent of the week, because we still have one last commercial break, and then we've got the opponent of the week and the final drive before we wrap things on up for this episode. I'll see you guys here after this last commercial break and discuss what I predict to happen in this game.
Commanders, where my soldiers, right side. Commanders, where my soldiers, left side.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. You kids from the block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look. Hey, stop playing games. Y'all already know. Go ahead and toss him some Willie Bucks. Ain't nobody playing around. $, D Willie 87. Go ahead, hit him up on the Cash App, and go ahead and give him some Willie Bucks. Look at Drew looking stoic, ladies and gentlemen. Stoic on that $10 bill. So go ahead, slide my man over some Willie Bucks, and we good. That's all I'm saying. We good. Slide some Willie Bucks.
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Oh, yes. The tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I gotta rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commanders Gridiron Report. If you want your Commanders to be repped right, well, D. Willie is your man. Commanders Gridiron Report. Every Tuesday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern, 12:05 a.m. Central on the Sertoba Media YouTube channel. Music by J.KUL.
Where my soldiers, right side. Commanders, where my soldiers, left side. Commanders, where my soldiers, right side. Commanders, where my soldiers, left side.
Welcome back to episode 32 of the Commanders Gridiron Report here on Friday, November 8th, 2024. I am your host, Drew Willingham, and we are back to discuss more Commanders action. We have taken into the opponent of the week to see my thoughts for this upcoming game.
Look how we step. Who we got next? Step on the right, step on the left. Who do we rep?
And here for the opponent of the week, this Sunday, November 10th, 1:00 p.m. Eastern Time, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 6-2, come into Landover, Maryland to take on the Washington Commanders, who are 7-2. This will be a huge test for not only the Commanders, but for the Steelers. The Commanders' offense, who've been red hot, as well as the Steelers' defense has been red hot. Look at what the Steelers have done. They've made some acquisitions throughout this trade deadline. The Commanders did as well. Between the Steelers and the Commanders, they beefed up for this game. And there's a good chance that the moves that the Steelers made would definitely be a little bit more impactful than the move that the Commanders made because of the quote-unquote injury that Marshawn Lattimore has been dealing with. Still a huge pickup for the defensive secondary. Definitely huge. And I'm definitely liking the moves that they made at this point in the year because, again, I called it. They need help in the secondary and need another piece or two on the offensive line. And probably, somewhere a year or two from now when Zach Ertz is ready to retire, they need to have another, probably a high draft pick within the tight end if there's a good one to come out or make a move somewhere within the tight end position later on. But right now, secondary was the number one thing because teams have been killing us on the deep ball, especially teams like the Giants who took advantage of that this past weekend, along with certain aspects of the running game that they kind of got burned on in the secondary with certain plays with that too. So looking at it for what it is, glad that they made that move because when you got the Steelers this week, Steelers defense one of the top ranked defenses in the league, and the Commanders offense still the second highest scoring team in the league. Got to look at it for, the two teams here. It is a huge contest and is absolutely, wild when you think of how the Commanders were last year in comparison to what they are now. You would not think that when we had the schedule come out earlier this year that we would be talking about the Commanders and the Steelers type of game being this competitive. Between the two teams, when you look at what they've done to each other and you look at what the Commanders did in their contest with the Ravens, it's a pretty clear indicator of what's to come against the Steelers. It's not going to be a blowout. Steelers, I feel like, are going to win this game. And it's going to be very similar to what the Ravens did. It's going to be very similar to what I called last week, but a little different as far as I had the Commanders on the winning side of it. But for this side, I have the Steelers winning by no more than 7 points, 7 points or less. That's going to be my prediction for this game. I could be wrong. For this, but a lot of people are picking the Steelers to win, and I'm going to continue that trend with saying that I feel like they're going to win as well. The Commanders will lose this game in my prediction at home, but I think it's going to be a pretty good scoring contest overall. It's not going to be, a score of in the 30s by either team. I don't feel like it's going to be like 28-24, something like that. Steelers over the Commanders. But I feel like there's a potential to where they could score up to 7 points, maybe even more. It just depends on how the recent moves for both teams, the trade line, impact their respective roles and their respective sides, whether it be offense or defense. And they primarily on both sides, for both the defense and the offense, made moves in the Steelers because they brought in Mike Williams, the receiver, to kind of help with Pickens, to be on the opposite side, line up and be somewhat of a decoy. So between the two, whether it's Pickens the decoy or Mike Williams, and vice versa on certain plays, they're going to take advantage of that. And it's going to be a big test for the newly acquired piece for the Commanders. If he can keep up with that, which he's done a pretty good job with the Saints, with that being said. However, again, it's not 1,000% in stone if he's going to play or not this week. So until we see him out there, until we see him suited up, until we see him playing, I'm still going to be a little skeptical on that. And that's why I have to say the Steelers are going to win this game. Mickey says, Drew, I'm sorry, but Commanders are losing this game. Absolutely there, sir. I believe they are losing this game too. And that's what I predicted. By 7 points or less, they will be losing this game. Emunola Aman on LinkedIn says, great. Apparently loves the show. Apparently loves the product. Shout out to you for tuning in, being here through LinkedIn. And again, Mickey says that he's late, as well as Yo from Ike. Doesn't give a fuck. Says, my bad, I'm late. You had to put the kids to bed. We're glad that you could put the kids to bed and get on up here, Ike, and be part of those of you in the chat who are engaging within the show. Because, again, if you're just tuning in, I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers, the away team, winning in Landover, Maryland at Northwest Stadium and beating the Commanders, as they will fall to a 7-3 record, and the Steelers will improve to a 7-2 record, as they have already had a bye week in this season. But glad you can make it there, Ike. And again, Mick, we are on the same page. I do have the Commanders losing this game. Mickey says, hi, Ike, as they are catching up here in the chat. But, I feel like Jaden Daniels would do a pretty solid job at quarterback in this game. He's not going to turn the ball over. They're not going to really force any turnovers because, again, he has 9 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. So he's definitely playing his part and doing his job, managing the game, but also on the ground doing well. When you look at the numbers that he's putting up, he still had 35 yards in the past game, and he could still potentially get to 1,000 yards rushing for the season if he has some other games where he's lighting it up. So we shall see. This is going to be a big test, but another test for you guys that are tuning in for the first time. Please like, share, and subscribe, or subscribe now as well, and never miss out on new content. Let's get some more people here in the chat. Let's get some more things popping off for Team MBS Media, Sertoba Media, or on A7BN Sports. Thank you all for tuning in so far to the Commanders Gridiron Report, produced by
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
We are here for the Commanders Gridiron Report. We are streaming live currently for episode 32. As we have just gone through the opponent of the week, we now have one more final segment we got to go through. Even though we predicted the Commanders to take the we have to
Let's get ready to rumble!
shout out again to those of you in the chat. You know.
You like that? You like that?
Absolutely. Was that a total
Surprise, motherfucker.
I don't think so. Y'all know how it is. I mean, it's not that often that people celebrate.
Hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Hell no, to the no.
It could be totally worse. This team could be this.
This has been yet another Beating a Dead Horse presentation.
Shenanigans are in full effect. Let's go ahead and take this into the final drive and discuss the final thoughts in this episode.
We bet on ourselves, so what you expect? A diehard fan of it, never regret. Yes, sir.
And here for the final drive, we have to take a look at final things that we have on our slate for this program. It's definitely been another fun episode. Again, to start it off, episode 32, as you can see in the top left corner of your screen, for those of you tuning in to this show through
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Or Team MBS Media, as well as A7BN Sports. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Because, again, we're here for episode 32 to discuss the Commanders. We've discussed the previous game with the Giants and how they beat them in a very tough divisional matchup. We've gone through the Pittsburgh Steelers preview, where they come to town to take on the Washington Commanders. And now we have to look, from not only the trade that was from this past week, but from not only the past, but we have to look forward to the future, because Jaden Daniels has absolutely been lighting it up to me. And that you can say it's a homer pick, however you want, but he's definitely a runaway for the rookie of the year for the NFL. Very similar to Robert Griffith III as far as the impact that he's made throughout this point of the year so far in the NFL for all rookies. Caleb Williams is going to be struggling with that Chicago Bears team. It started to spiral, right there at the end with the Commanders game. And in this past week's game, it spiraled for him again. So there's no other rookie that has been close as far as discussions throughout this season, except for Jaden Daniels being the rookie of the year. You could even argue that he's been in discussions for MVP, but I don't feel like at this point, through 9 weeks going into week 10, that he deserves to be in the MVP conversation at this time. He still needs a little bit more to prove. 9 touchdowns in 9 games. It's not high statistically enough for an MVP, but for his completion percentage, for his quarterback rating, for his impact to the Washington Commanders offense and leading into wins, victories, however you want to say it, he deserves to be the rookie of the year at this point in the year. Still a lot of games to go. Still, this game and then 7 games after that. And then depending on your seeding within the playoffs, if you continue to play as well as you have been, it'll depend on who you face and depend on how your performance is there, which we will continue to break down from here to then, when that transpires, if it transpires. But right now, if you're a Commanders fan, you just need to take this one step at a time. You just need to remain humble, because your team, the 3-13 years back when there was 16 game seasons, the 4-13 season like last year, there was 4-12 seasons before and 6-10s. There's a lot of those underperforming, under 500 seasons that were depressing if you were a Commanders fan. And looking back on it now, this is the type of feeling that the formerly known as the Redskins teams would give to their fans back in the 80s, in the early 90s, throughout the Joe Gibbs era. That was the best time to be a Washington Redskins fan, unless you were a fan back in the 30s and 40s, when Sammy Ball was there and you were actually watching them live, because things weren't highly televised back then to where you would see that many Washington Redskins games on the television. So looking at it for what it is, speaking of, teams that have had young quarterbacks impact their team, there's not many that have done it this early. Lamar Jackson, definitely made impacts with the Ravens, but not quite like this. And the Commanders have struck gold, as the Washington franchise has struck gold yet again with another great rookie quarterback. And the Bears may end up regretting this decision, but hey, shoulda, coulda, woulda, because now you have the future at quarterback as long as he stays healthy. So with my final thoughts within this game, I've got to say, well, not only this game, but for this team, it's looking very good for the future. It really is. They just need to keep healthy. They need to keep everything positive. And I think regardless of how this year goes, they need to retain Cliff Kingsbury, and he needs to not get an inflated ego and feel like he deserves a second chance as a head coach right now. I think they need to prove it with this Super Bowl appearance and with the Super Bowl win within the next 3 to 5 years, and try to do it together, because you'll have a lot more clout as a Super Bowl winning assistant coach than you do as some flash in the pan seasons, and then you potentially go to another team as a head coach and you fall on your face again, which nobody wants to see anybody fall on their face, but when you do, everybody's going to talk about it. That's generally just how it goes. But right here and now, this has definitely been one great episode, and you guys have definitely been great in the chat. And we've got my man from the grind here who says, as long as the Commanders continue to build that defense and get more weapons around Jaden, they're going to continue to grow and be a real threat in the NFL. And I definitely believe that too, my brother. And definitely look forward to seeing it happen. And Marshawn Lattimore pick up this past trade deadline, day earlier this week on election day, this past Tuesday. Matter of fact, it was definitely positive news that came out of Washington for that. Landover, Maryland, whatever you want to say. But definitely true words right here. This is absolute facts. And with Adam Peters as their general manager, if he continues to make the moves he's making, we will not see many more kind of seasons. So hopefully, everything continues to remain positive and everything continues to remain great within this locker room as far as the morale and the culture, because fans have been waiting many years who stayed loyal, like myself, and waiting for something like this to see whether they're the Redskins, the football team, or not, have this be truth for the actual NFC East. And I got this from the game I was at a couple weeks ago. It's like a few bucks, and it was definitely worth it. A little foam finger right here, number one. Had that along with the championship belt. It's definitely a great day over there. And my man says, appreciate y'all taking it from our division. I know that's right. Because it definitely helps out with the Saints, trading away, because they are in the same division, and the Saints don't look like they're going anywhere anytime soon. So, with that being said, this has been another great episode. And if this is your first time tuning in, make sure you subscribe now and never miss out on new mother, father, and content. No matter if you're watching this show, the Commanders Gridiron Report, on usually Tuesdays at 1 o'clock, but my work schedule has been preventing me from that right here in this moment. But that's okay. I'll make it work. Everything happens. We're still here, still bringing content. Every Monday, though, at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, you can see myself and Cole Johnson with Total Football Talk, where we discuss all things football, every single game, break it down from the past week, and or preview well, I wouldn't say or, we also preview the upcoming week's games of football as well, no matter if it's NFL, CFL, or UFL. And during this time, while there's CFL action, we have the spinoff show, Total Football Talk Extra, that you can find every Friday, currently at 5:05 p.m. Eastern Time, along with the In or Out Sports Debate that's currently on hiatus due to everything else that is previously mentioned. And D. Willie in the Evening, the Shenanigans Show, talking about stories, talking about news, will be back on Thursday, November 21st. It will not be a live show anymore. It will be pre-recorded, but there is extra shenanigans that will be jam-packed within that show that I will do creatively as a reward to those of you who do not need to watch it live. You can watch it syndicated and also light it up with the comments. Looking forward to bringing that back. I've already started out on some concepts for that, and we are only 13 days away from seeing D. Willie in the Evening make a return to the programming channel, YouTube, known as this.
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
So again, if you're just tuning in, got the Commanders losing by 7 points or less to the Steelers. If I were to take a wild guess, again, I'd say about 28-24 this upcoming week, or maybe like 31-27. I feel like it's going to be like a pretty tight game, but I still don't think that the Commanders will score 30 points on that Steelers defense, and calling for 24 is a lot too. But we've seen what the Bengals did to the Ravens defense in this past game on Thursday night, last night. So anything's possible. We'll have to see how things go. But I want to thank you, as always, for watching the Commanders Gridiron Report. This has been episode 32. We're going to round things out, take you into one mother, father, and badass outro, as we're going to take episode 32 to a close. Like I tell everybody each and every episode, thank you, as always, for tuning in. But the main thing that you have to remember is to stay safe out here in these streets. So long, everybody.
Commanders, where my soldiers, right side, Commanders, where my soldiers, left side, Commanders, where my soldiers, watch the middle, Commanders, where my soldiers, now we step, where my soldiers, right side, Commanders, where my soldiers, left side, now we step, where my soldiers, watch the middle. Commanders, where my soldiers, hit 'em.
Sertoba Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Don't have to go home, but you got to get your cell phone up out of here. Episode 32 has come to a close on November 8th, 2024. Again, as always, stay safe out here in these streets.